Okay. All right. So thanks for joining me tonight for my very first inaugural Gua Sha facial class. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to give a little introduction to Gua Sha and Gua Sha facials, and then talk about some kind of some warnings, some counterindications, talk a little bit about tools and oils, and then go through step by step how you can do this at home. And then I've added in some extra, like for more of a spa-like experience at home, if you want to do some extra products, and then some skincare tips. Does anybody have any questions before we start? Okay. And in the chat pad, I put in a link to a website that I use to buy Gua Sha tools. They have high quality tools, they're a reputable source, and they have fair prices. And then I put in a link to some skincare products and then my contact info if anybody needs it. And I think what I'd like to do is, if you have questions while I'm talking, why don't you put them in the chat and I'll try to keep up with them. And then that way I can keep everybody muted, and then we can unmute at the end and I can answer questions then. Okay, so Gua Sha, oh, and I'm going to make this link available to everybody after the talk. So if you don't want to take notes and you just want to listen, you'll be able to replay this, assuming I've recorded it properly. Okay, so a Gua Sha gives you smoother skin, brighter complexion, and how does it do this? So we're going to use a Gua Sha tool, and we're going to be working it all over the face in a specific pattern. And I just want to talk a little bit about age changes that happen to everybody in the face. So when you're young, the face is like there's an upside down triangle where the cheekbones are high, the eyes are lifted, and you have kind of a pointy chin. And there are a lot of fat deposits actually above the eyes, below the eyes, and on the cheeks that add plumpness and give a lot of good structure to the face. And then it's completely unfair, but what happens as you age is it becomes a right side up triangle, and these fat deposits start to break down. And so they're no longer supporting the skin of the face, so the skin starts to sag. The bones actually start to break down, and the eyes, the holes, the orbits of the eyes start to get bigger. The nose starts to get bigger. And so what happens is the skin sags and it starts to move to the midline. And so that's why we get like this nasolabial groove here, and all kinds of fun folds and wrinkles and kind of jowls and crepiness in the throat. So what Gua Sha is doing is trying to keep blood moving to the neck and the face to prevent or slow down some of these normal age-related changes. So really upping blood circulation to the face, moving lymph, stimulating the production of collagen and elastin. And I think that the pressure that we put on the bones actually stimulates some bone growth, just like if you do weight-bearing exercise to make strong bones, that pressure on the bones is what builds strong bones. We're pressing on the bones and can stimulate some bone growth. There's no one right way to do this. If you Google Gua Sha videos, you'll see like a lot of different ways to do it. And I'm just going to show you the way I learned. But feel free to look around at other videos and see what other people are doing. Typically, I'd say do it 1 to 2 times a week, 3 times max. You don't want to do it you don't want to do it too much, because your skin needs time to repair and kind of integrate the stimulation that you've given it. So no more than 3 times a week. And this is not actual Gua Sha. If anybody's been to an acupuncturist or some other kind of provider who does Gua Sha actually, you want to get these, like if you've ever seen like Michael Phelps in the Olympics, when he made news with his big purple round marks from cupping, that's called Sha. And so Gua Sha, typically you want to raise up the stagnant blood, and you get these purple marks on the skin from stagnant blood coming up. So this is actually it's called Gua Sha, I think, because you use a Gua Sha tool, but it's really more of a face massage. And you can occasionally get, like, I'll occasionally get a little bit of these purple marks. It almost looks like a little hickey, usually on my neck. I don't get it on the face, but it is a possibility. And another thing to be aware of is if you have any bruises on your face, you don't want to take the tool over those bruises. Like right now, I've got a little bruise here from a needle. If I were to do the normal pressure over that area, I would just re-injure that and that bruise would look new and fresh. So I will either avoid that area or just go over it really lightly. And if you have acne or rosacea, you don't want to take the tool over an active breakout. You want to work around the edges of it and do the normal process where your skin is clear, but you don't want to be scraping over, you know, a breakout or really red skin. And if you do, there should be no side effects, but if you do experience side effects like, you know, maybe bruising or a lot of this sha coming up, then just take a little break for a week or two and then come back to it, or do it. And then when you go back to it, do it more lightly. Okay, so there are a lot of different Gua Sha tools out there, and this is the one I use. It's called the Gua Sha Shark, and you can get it from Acuria USA. It's in the chat pad, or I have them for sale in my office. And I like mine. This has, you'll see when we go through this, I use all of the different surfaces. I use this ridge surface for certain things. I use the fishtail for certain things. I use this this edge for certain things, and I use the flat edge for certain things. So I looked, and they make all these really nice tools with like amethyst and rose quartz crystal and jade that are supposed to have like calming, soothing, heart opening qualities. And I can't find one tool that has all of these things that I like. This is made out of a bone that's been highly polished. So if you really want to get a stone one, you might just have to have 2 or 3 to kind of get all of these surfaces. Okay, let's see. And oh, and there are Jade Combs out there at the end. We'll kind of comb the hairline, and Jade Combs are really nice. I would get one of those. Okay, so we're going to start with, so to start, you want to have your face and your neck washed. If you need to shave, you want to shave beforehand. So I've washed my face, and this is an optional thing, but it's part of what I do for my more spa-like experience. Is I have a toner that I put on a gauze, or I just spray it on my face and then wipe it. And the reason you want to use a gauze is because the rougher texture can really, you know, get into the skin and clean it a little better. This is an astragalus and geranium toner. And it has antibacterial properties. So just a little deeper cleaning before we start. And then, let's see, and then we're gonna do the Gua Sha Facial Oil. This is the oil I use. Also, it's developed by the woman that developed the cosmetic acupuncture program that I do. And it's mostly made up of sunflower oil, a rose oil, and some other seed oils. So I'm just gonna put a little bit in the palm of my hand, rub it around the face. You don't have to buy a special oil, but if you don't buy like a Gua Sha oil, I would just say keep it, use a lighter oil. So like a lighter massage oil, or, you know, the base of this is sunflower oil. You could use sunflower oil. We're also going to do the back of the neck. I have a teacher who really loves olive oil, and their thinking was olives are grown in bright sun, so that brings a lot of vitality to however you use it. So olive oil, if you use a light olive oil, could work. Okay, so now we're going to start. So the first thing I'm going to do is the back of the neck, and I'm going to use this side of the Gua Sha tool. And I'm just going to go down the muscles my hair is at this awkward COVID stage where it's a little too long, but not long enough to put up. So I'm doing the muscles next to the spine, and I'm moving in a downward motion. You could go up and down, but really you don't want to send energy up to the head. So I just go down, send the extra energy down. Okay, I'm going to use this flat edge and I'm going to go under the jawline. And I'm going to do every motion 12 times. And it can be hard for me to count and talk, so maybe my counting won't be perfect. The other thing I wanted to mention is that it's important to alternate the side you start on each time, because it actually can, if you just started on the right every time, you actually could notice a difference and kind of an asymmetry over time. Okay, now we're going to work the jaw. I use the fishtail end, so 12 times. And I'm using quite firm pressure. If you bruise easily, you might want to back off on your pressure a little bit. Or if you're like, you know, if it's painful, you'd want to back off. This should feel vigorous, but not painful. Okay, and then we do the other side. Okay. And then we're going to do around the lips. And also using the fishtail. And I only go about 2 inches past the lips, and I'm pulling, I'm not pushing. Okay, and then do the other side. Okay, now is where I'm going to use the ridge. So I'm going to start over by the ear at the base of the jaw, and then go up to the base of the temple. And I'm cutting the face into thirds. So now I'm kind of doing the middle of the cheek, and then just going up over the cheekbone. And now I'm going to turn the tool over so the fishtail doesn't get in the way, hit my nose. I'm just going up next to the nose. And so at this point, I'm already feeling a lot of blood, a lot of warmth in my face. Okay, I'm going to skip this middle line because of my bruise. Oh, I forgot to tell you. You also, like, this is a ceramic spoon I talked about in the announcement. It doesn't have all the ridges, but it's got a smooth surface. So in a pinch, if you have one of these, you can use one of these. Okay, so now I'm going to be using the tip and this flat part. And I'm kind of going to go under the cheekbone out to the ear. And then I'm just going to do it lightly on this side because of that bruise. And then always the movement is upwards. And it's like part of that is like we're thinking about lifting. Now I'm going to go back over to this side and go more on top of the cheekbone. Okay, and this side, I know I'm not doing 12, but actually my whole body is warming up doing this. Okay, so the next area, still starting with this tip and using this flat side, I'm going under the eye, and you want to do this very lightly. Once you get right outside the eye, this is called the bone of the orbit, the eye bone. Once you clear this bone, then you can do more pressure kind of outside of the eye, but I'm like light. So light, 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 and then pressure. Okay, to the other side. This feels good. If you hold a lot of tension in the temples too, this feels really good. Okay, now we don't do anything around the eyes. The skin is just too delicate. So I'm going to take my fishtail again, and now I'm going to work the eyebrow bone. And so below the eyebrow is sensitive, tender skin. So I'm putting a little more pressure on the top part of the fishtail, the top of the brow, and then keeping it a little light under the eyebrow. This, if you put too much pressure, you will feel it. It's just too painful. And this is really good for like helping prevent that eyelid droop that a lot of people get as they age. Okay. Now we're going to move up to the forehead. I'm going to use this wide flat edge, and I'm going to just go straight up the midline of the forehead 12 times. And then we're going to divide the rest of the forehead into thirds, just like we did with the cheek. And I'm going to go do this third. Okay, and then just move over the next third. And then the last third. Okay, and then just go to the other side. Up on the forehead, I like to use two hands. I just feel like I can get more even pressure. And then the next third. And then that last third. So we've really, by the time you've done, you've really covered, other than like really the bags under the eyes, the lower eye, that area, you really covered and stimulated all of the skin of the face. Okay, next part, I'm going to use the ridge side again, and I'm just going to comb into the hairline. This is where I need to get a jade comb. I think this feels really good. Also gets a little, this kind of reinforces the lifting action. It gets the blood moving in the front part of the scalp. I've seen people get a jade comb and they'll just comb the entire scalp, which would feel fantastic. Okay. And now we go to the neck. So again, the neck we divide into thirds, and there's a lot of lymph drainage that comes down the neck. So we're draining that lymph and then invigorating the blood supply up to the head. And some people like to do the neck first. I just learned that you do the neck last. You know, you can always experiment, see which way you like best. I'm gonna go up. This is where I might get a hickey. Then go to the next third. And if you have tight muscles in your neck, this also just feels really good. And then the last third. And when I do the last third, I like to go up to the base of the skull. I kind of hold tension there. And so I kind of sneak around the back. Okay, and then the other side. Just going to do 10. Then the middle third. And then the back. Okay, usually my neck gets really red. I think it's a menopause thing. Okay, so now for the last piece, what we do is use the fishtail end, and we're gonna hit the midline of the neck. And this we do 20 times. $18, $19, $20. All right, so that's it. Does anybody have any questions? You can unmute yourself if you have a question before I go on to the next bit.
No, that was awesome.
Yeah, how red is my neck? I can't really.
Yeah, it's very red.
Yeah, it's a menopause thing. Yeah, for me.
I feel you.
Yeah. Okay, so then I just thought I'd show you kind of my full home spa thing, if you'd like to see that. Okay.
Sure. I had one question. What
Sure.
part of the tool did you use for the sides of the neck? I missed
The
that.
ridge part.
Okay, thank you.
Ridge.
Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So the next thing I would do if I'm like doing this little pampering thing at home is I'm going to do a paper mask. So I have these little super hydrated or dehydrated paper masks. I have a product called Fountain of Youth. It's a hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid is a compound that occurs naturally in our skin, and it provides structure and moisturizing and plumpness to the skin. So I'm gonna just put a cap full of this in my, I just have a little glass, and it soaks it right up. And then you have to unfurl it. Have you guys seen these?
No.
So you can get these paper masks on Amazon. I have them in my office very inexpensively. Like if you go out there and you see like 10 masks for $90, that's not what this is. This is more like the Korean masks that are like, I don't know, $10 for 20 or something like that. They're very inexpensive. So this is kind of, it's not soaking wet, but it's saturated with this hyaluronic acid. And then I just put it over the face and then press it down all over the skin. And it feels really good. So after all the gua sha, my face is really warm and this is cooling. So it's cooling and moisturizing. It just feels really good. I feel like I look like a Peking opera mask performer. So then like I would just put on a timer and leave this on for 10 minutes or lie down on my bed or lie down on the couch and just zone out. Maybe not put on a timer and fall asleep with this on and wake up when it's dried and take it off. All right, so I'm not gonna make you guys sit here and watch it dry, but anyway, it feels really good, but you never wanna put these on dry skin. So, so I prepped with, I did the toner and then I have the base of the oil because the hyaluronic acid on the dry skin will be damaging. So like you could, if you just wanted to do this, get some of these and have them at home. Like I try to do this a couple of times a week. You could just put down kind of a thin film of a lighter moisturizer so that you have, you know, wash your face, light moisturizer and do this if you use the hyaluronic acid. Okay, and then I have this vitamin C spray, one of my favorite things, and I spritz. Vitamin C, I'm going to talk a little bit about supplements for the skin. Vitamin C is really great for helping cells and tissue rebuild and regenerate. So I take a vitamin C supplement, partly for immunity, you know, and other things, but partly to keep my cells healthy. And I love this little vitamin C spray. And then the next thing I do, I have this, it's called Edelweiss stem cells for the eyes. And it's a little serum and you just take one drop. This is, so all of these products are part of a line that I use from the woman who developed the cosmetic acupuncture I do. Take one drop, divide it in two, and then just rub it around the eyes. And this is for really fine wrinkles that we get like crow's feet around the eyes. And then I want to take a little bit, go under the eyes, and then below the eyebrow on the bone. And then I'm going to use a full drop on the upper lip. Have you seen people, sometimes they get all these lines, these vertical lines above their lip? Yeah, those, yeah, those. So this is to help prevent those, or if you already have them, to reduce them. All right. The next thing, I have this, another stem cell product called Wakami stem cell eye cream. This normally, I have bags under my eyes. So normally what I would do is just a tiny drop, like little more than a pinhead, and put it under my eyes and then pat it. And this helps bring down puffiness under the eyes. After Gua Sha Facial, I'm gonna apply it to the whole face because when you do the Gua Sha, you create an inflammation cascade all over your face. You want blood flowing, you want increased blood flow, you wanna be moving fluids, lymph, but you don't want excess heat. You wanna, inflammation cascade is like a little too much heat. So wakami is seaweed, and so in Chinese medicine, it's got a cooling nature. So this is just gonna temper some of that heat. You don't have to do this, especially like I tend to do it very vigorously, so I get a lot of, you know, a lot of this heat. If you do it more gently, you don't need that. Like I said, this is kind of my spa thing. And then, so that's it in terms of products. And so I've done the Gua Sha, I've hung out on my couch or in my bed with the face mask, and then I've put on these other products. And then if I'm really lucky, my husband will give me a face or scalp massage. But it's just always nicer when somebody else does it for you. But at this point, if you wanted to, you know, you could just kind of give yourself a simple face massage, but I would just always moving upwards. And like, so the way I talked about with age, the skin and the structure of the face is going down and in. I'm always going in circles up and out, fighting that natural change. And then I would use my hands, this thing, but I would use my hand as a comb since I don't have a jade comb. Nancy will recognize this from the massage class. And I just really comb the scalp. All right, now, does anybody have any questions about that? And again, I just wanted to stress the basic thing that I showed you, you can do that and that you will get good results over time doing that. And then what I just showed you with the products is extra pampering. Okay, so then I just wanted to talk just about some skincare tips. So it's just really important that you have a daily skincare routine. We really prefer people like clean and moisturize both in the morning and the night. But if you're so busy that you don't have time to do it twice a day, do it at night, because that's when cellular repair happens. So you've cleaned your face, you've moisturized, and that will just support the cellular repair process. Use sunscreen every day. You know, it's just all about keeping the skin protected from the sun and moist. That's the two things to remember. And I wanted to talk a little bit about food and skin. One thing that's really important is to limit sugar and alcohol. These stress the digestive system and cause sagging of the skin. So it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but just kind of limit those, especially if you have weaker digestion. The digestive center, we call it the spleen in Chinese medicine, is responsible for lifting. Sugar taxes that system, and then things start to go down instead of staying up where we'd like them to be. And then just a lot of this is basic, you know, food advice, but limit fried, greasy, spicy food, limit dairy, especially if you have sluggish digestion. If you have really robust digestion, you can get away with eating these things more. The weaker your digestion is, the more you should avoid them. You want to keep hydrated. You know, we recommend drinking 75 to 100 ounces of water a day, room temperature or warmer, not ice cold. Ice will slow down the blood circulation in your body. It'll eventually slow down your digestion. And try to drink the most of the water. Hopefully you guys didn't lose me just there. Try to drink more water before you eat, like an hour before you eat. If you drink a lot of water after you eat, it dilutes the stomach juices, the acids in the stomach, and that can slow down digestion. So try to stay hydrated. And in terms of, there's some supplements that really support overall health and good skin. The first one is vitamin D. It helps absorb calcium. That'll give you strong bones, strong immune system. It strengthens the brain and the nervous system. You can take up to, say, 6,000 to 10,000 units a day. You can also get vitamin D in fatty fish like tuna, salmon, and mackerel, cheese, egg yolks, you know, or by being out in the sun. And then vitamin A is really important for healthy skin and bone development and night vision. The recommendation is 700 micrograms a day. And you can get vitamin A in a lot of the yellow and orange foods like pumpkins, sweet potatoes, mangoes, but also some grains like oatmeal and greens like spinach and kale. CoQ10 is made by the body, but it is easily depleted, and production of CoQ10 declines with age. And it's an antioxidant that protects the cells from free radical damage and helps the cells make energy, which we want to support. And vitamin C, as I mentioned earlier, helps rebuild tissue, including the skin, builds immunity. I take 2,000 to 3,000 units a day. I like and get it in the kind that is slow release. and that's easier on digestion. If you get the kind that will just dump it all in your system at once, it can give you loose stools. So I just take like one with each meal, get my 3,000. And then it's a good idea, if you're not already taking a B complex, to take a B complex. All the B vitamins are part of, important for cell formation, especially the nerves, and they help maintain healthy skin, liver, hair, eyes, but they actually can help reduce dry, itchy skin as well. So that's all I had for tonight. Does anybody have
Thank you.
questions?
I wanted to ask you a long time ago how your skin is so beautiful. Now I know.
Well, I also have to say, since March, I've been doing cosmetic acupuncture on myself. And this is, I learned it from the woman who developed these products. And so I guess I do a little more than this.
Well, it's working. It's working.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. You charmer, you.
No, I'm being totally honest and sincere.
Well, you know, I'm a person that I was a real tomboy as a kid, and I played competitive tennis, and I would go out and every weekend and play tournaments, and I didn't use sunscreen. I would burn my skin every single weekend. My nose would burn so badly that about 2 days after the tournament, the skin off my entire nose would come off, and it would be raw underneath. And so I really didn't start taking care of my skin until my 40s. And I really feel like I really should have a lot of sun damage. But I really have, this system has made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I can tell when I slack off, the spots start reemerging, bubbling to the top.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so, all right. Anything else, anybody?
I don't think so for
Okay,
me.
so again, I have if you're interested in Gua Sha Tools, I would go to acuriausa.com. There are just so many low quality, expensive tools out there. I trust these people. And if you want to learn more about the skincare products I use, that's myzenskincare.com. And never tested on animals, mostly organic, and no parabens or phthalates, natural ingredients. So, okay. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for showing up, everybody. I really appreciate it. Great to see you. Okay.
Thank you.
And feel free to get in touch with me after this. If you think of a question, just get in touch. You can email me, call me, text.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming, Holly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.